This week, is NASA suing Oculus for being sexist? One dev ruins it for the rest of his team, and we cleverly shoot steampunk planes out of the sky with a clown that is afraid of the dark. Hi, Richard. Thanks for donating. This is episode 26 of the Indie Game Riot.
Indie Game Riot! Hey everybody, it is JaShinYa, and this is episode 26, as Tex said. And I've got to say, first of all, thank you, Richard, for your $1 donation.
Tick mark.
Yep.
Tick mark. There you go. We're marking it off. So good job for being obnoxious. Thank you.
Yeah. The story behind that, for those uninitiated, is as I was doing 72-hour Film Fest, Richard is the key grip. He does everything behind the scenes for us, and he's like, "So if I donated $50 to the Indie Game Riot, but in $1 increments, could you say like anything I wanted 50 times?" And I'm just like, I'll have to ask. The answer is yes.
Yeah. So
of course.
This is leftovers, or not leftovers, but this is the what am I
This
saying?
is the official $1 donation shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I think
for the Indiegogo campaign.
His initial idea was to put the name "I am Groot" on there because he wanted me to say that 40 times. But does that count? Fuck it, we're gonna make that count.
That one doesn't count. That one doesn't count.
All right.
Take it off.
Whoop.
Now you ruined the notes. Come on, Ted.
Fixed it.
There you go. So anyway, episode 26, and we're still moving on strong. We are motorboating all along onto 30 and farther, infinity and beyond, because they're coming out with a new Tour Story next year or something. No, 3 years. I don't know. Whatever.
Something like that.
That has nothing to do with video games. How's things going, Rev?
Things are going fantastic.
Not catching on fire this week?
Huh?
Not catching on fire this week?
Not catching on fire. I am going to say, speaking of moving beyond 30,
You're old. Oh, yeah. Happy birthday.
30-something today.
Oh, really?
Happy birthday. I forgot about
Happy
that.
birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want for your birthday?
I can't answer that question in
Well, I'm married. I'm a married man, Rev. Come on.
Me too. That doesn't change the answer. No. Today it's been interesting. Like I haven't had a whole lot of time to do much gaming. Work's been kicking my ass, but it's been a good kicking of the ass. I'm now somewhere between the ages of 31 and 35. I'm not sure exactly which. My wife told me yesterday, and I forgot. But no, like today being my birthday, it was amazing. I got it off from work, so I didn't have to, go deal with fires. And I slept all day, watched a couple of episodes of Indie Game Riot and Bleach, and then slept some more.
I forgot. For some reason, I wasn't thinking Bleach as like the TV show.
You were thinking, I'm a bottle of Clorox.
I thought you had like. I thought you were like. I watched Indie Game Riot and like Bleach, like you were drinking it.
It's like, yeah, I brushed my teeth with bleach.
But no, because I had today off, I got to go hit juvenile delinquents with sticks. I haven't gotten to swing sword since I started my new job, and there just happened to be a mini thing going on today where, like, it's not really juvenile delinquents. That's just the way it was promoted, and I was like, yes, I get to hit juvenile delinquents. But no, there were. It's a after school program for underprivileged kids, like age 12.
It's like what is that movie? Or the movie Role Models.
Yeah,
kind of, except I was hitting hard. And so I got to do that today, and then made it back here for tonight. Tomorrow, I'm headed down to San Diego for a day event called the Battle of Blackwater. But in between then and now, I do have to go in and do some work. Hopefully, not involving fires.
Yeah.
It's
firefighting, part of an IT tech's job.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I would have to deal with a lot more fires than you. But I'm going to take my time at the beginning of this episode to talk to everybody who's listening.
It's a PSA.
I am a delivery driver for
Domino's.
I am a delivery driver for Pizza Hut. And I experienced something for the first time today that I never had in the past. And so I took a double, which means I take 2 different orders and I run them around town. The first order I take...
Oh, I took that a totally different route.
I thought you meant like a double shift.
No.
I took it a totally different route.
So I get to the first house. The lady gives me like a kind of crappy tip, whatever. But half of it is in coins. And I'm like, no, it's fine. In my head, I'm just like, oh, really? And then I get to the next guy. And like the next guy just like literally hands me like a handful of coins. And I'm just like, this can't be happening tonight.
That's when you stand there with your hand full of coins and you don't even leave the porch. You stand there staring at it.
Well, like I got back.
Yeah,
I got back to the store and exchanged them for like 4 ones, and I the rest of the night went a lot better.
That's the best part. Like I just have this image of you like emptying your pockets of all of these 1 cent coins, and you're like, yeah, I need to change this in for a cash tip.
Yeah. Well, like I mean, you can do that. The store's pretty laid back, but as I was leaving, and it's kind of funny if my girlfriend is watching right now or listens to an old episode, but she was really I work with her too. She was really worried that people were going to answer the door naked when I got this job.
That'd be fantastic.
And that hasn't happened. and
that, Richard.
And I'm like, yeah, thanks, Richard. $1 donator, Richard, over here. Can someone? I'll take that one. And so I'm in the car doing one of my deliveries, and doing a delivery is really boring. So I'll turn on like the news or NPR or something. And in my head, I'm just thinking, I was told there would be naked women.
Like I like that's the thought that's going through your mind. You're driving around delivering horrible pizza, not sponsored by
Domino's.
Or reverse that.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no naked people.
Yeah. Well, like, but to be fair, the people who I'd be delivering to are all like middle-aged white.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure you would
mothers
want that.
who all have who have the haircut that says, "Let me speak to your manager."
I am totally going to drive out there and find someplace within your delivery zone, and I will totally answer the door naked at my hotel for you.
I don't think we
like
have
it's a favor.
Just so I can be like,
naked people.
Just so I can go to my girlfriend and be like, guess what just happened? And she's just like, did someone answer the door naked? And I'm just like, yeah. she's like, really? And it's like, it's okay. It was just Rev. He's married.
Yeah. Or rather, his tip.
Yeah. So Josh, I assume you're not dying of the Ebola this week.
Well, I still have this cough left over, and it's weird too because it's not as bad as last week. So as I say that. So it shouldn't be like I shouldn't be hacking up a lung, every single time. But I also have like plugged up ears, like pressures in my ears. That. So it's like you guys sound a lot more quiet to me, and I'm trying to project as well because everything in my head, like when I talk, sounds super loud. So like I'm like talking to people and like what are you saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm trying to project, but like the thing that happened to me, I was also work woes today. Actually, I was scheduled to 9 and everything, but today is also food stamp day. And working at a grocery store, that's a horrible day because you get all kinds of, especially in this town, because like I'm like literally like 75% of this town is on food stamps, and so everyone rushes to the store and they're like freaking animals. There's no civility at all. all that sort of stuff. But oh,
you're a classist asshole.
How am I classist?
Hey man, classism is the new racism. Get it right. It's
so what's
fashionable
fun here
now.
is that my recording stopped.
Oh well, I've got mine, so it's cool.
And it's going again because
That's nice.
Something happened. But anyway,
Okay.
Classism.
it is not
No,
classism
I was
because
thinking-
it's not
I was
classism.
thinking
It has nothing to
facetious.
do with food stamps. It's literally like you're sitting in the store and it's just nonstop people like yanking shit out of your hands before you can get it on the shelf.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. And I was out of everything and just so many rude people, and it's a nightmare.
So you'd say that this whole thing in classism has a really big effect on people.
There's no. What?
That's a horrible segue.
There's no
I
classism in this.
actually did the exact same thing that I did last week.
I will say that the majority of these people that come into the store are probably on some sort of injection, like
That
an
was a
Indie
better
News
s-
injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an Indie News injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
And this week on Indie News Injection, I've got to say, this is just my segue thing is just out of this world, because I couldn't think of what I wanted to say, which was out of this world, which is this news story. Yeah,
Like Pluto.
well, Pluto is not a planet, so fuck it. But I gotta say that using the Oculus Rift in ways that aren't games is out of this world, because Oculus Rift is being used by NASA to help astronauts feel more at home in, basically space, where it could be kind of uneasy and they're homesick and everything like that. They use Oculus Rift to do things like visit the beach, like stroll down the beach or sit on the mountaintop, whatever they feel like doing, which is really cool. And they're using it through Dartmouth. I never know how to pronounce it. There you go. That Digital Arts Leadership and Innovation Lab, DALI for short. They're helping develop this, program through the Oculus to help them experience or help them with these experiences, so that way they aren't all homesick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because when you're in space, you're kind of far away.
Yeah, really. And it also
Well, technically, you're only you're minimum 70 miles.
But this experience isn't just an Oculus experience. They have sounds which are closely tied to Oculus, but there's also they're also including smells. So if you're on a beach, you'll hear the crashing. You'll hear the crashing waves. You'll actually see the beach, and you'll smell sunscreen and salt and stuff. And it's like this is like the first step that we're taking. Well, another close step we're taking to like Star Trek and the holodeck.
And I'm so excited.
And everybody wants a holodeck. My only thing is, this would make me so sick, because it's like, just think about it. You're in zero gravity. You'd have to get used to that before you started using this, and then like looking at yourself and like, and maybe it's different because it's like video games, and video games don't make me sick, but like you have to think like you're in weightlessness, and yeah, you might be strapped down, but you're still in weightlessness, and then you're like looking at gravity-based things, and I feel like that would just mess with your head. It must not, because they didn't completely kill the project. But
you can think of it the other way around, because when I first saw the title of the article before I read it, I was thinking that they were using it to like train astronauts.
yeah, that's what I thought as well.
So I mean, like, it's the other way around, where you're not, where you have gravity and yet you're floating through space or whatever in a spacesuit, like doing.
Which is a really cool, having experienced floating around in space on an Oculus. It's a really cool experience.
Well, but at the same time, maybe they can strap an Oculus to someone's face, like if they make like a waterproof version, because they do it in like the water.
Or they just redesign the whole spacesuit helmet to accommodate that, so that when they do the underwater testing.
Well, they could. You know what they could do with the spacesuit helmet? They could do like a augmented reality.
Yeah,
Dude, that would be cool.
it would be cool, but it adds another failure point.
Yeah, but it's a failure point that's not like technically necessary.
That's
so
true. Yeah.
Who cares?
They're also talking about being able to have them experience abstract situations. So as Josh and I said, having this train astronauts, this could also get astronauts acclimated to the jobs that they're going to be doing. Let's say they're going to the moon and they're going to be having an extended stay on the moon in the near future. They can, go run through their day-to-day lives on the moon while not being on the moon, so that once they get there, they're not,
They're
fish out of water. Yeah, they're familiar with the situation, and they'll know, like, oh, okay, I know exactly, which buttons to push. I've done this 1,000 times. I know I'm not going to kill all my friends. So, like, I think that
Well, they are testing it.
Yeah.
They started October 15th. There's a 6-man team that is going to spend 8 months in simulation for a Mars habitat.
Yeah.
And they are also planning on doing it in Antarctica as well, because I guess the scientists down there have nothing else to do. But,
those are the scientists that got C's in college.
You get C, you go to the South Pole.
But you were talking about like abstract environments too. I think it'd be cool. They were saying like you could go inside of a painting.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine like going inside of? I'm trying to think of like a.
Panko.
Oh
like Starry Night or or those crazy stairs. I forget what.
Oh
that
my
is.
god.
Oh, an Escher painting.
MC Escher. There you go. That'd be just something to do. You know what I mean? If you're bored up in space.
Mm-hmm.
Even, I don't know. Can you be bored up in space? I guess.
I feel like being in space would almost be more boring. But they do have better Wi-Fi reception than most of the Midwest.
Well, they get like every signal ever, right?
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that Oculus is going. And
I'm just really surprised.
Games in general are moving so fast technologically, and I'm just waiting for that point, like you said, holodeck, where it's just like a room would be a little crazy, but like just like a something you could surround yourself in, and make it completely
virtual,
be absorbed into it. They actually talked about
very immersive.
Side note, they actually talked about for a little bit before PS4 came out, they were like, there was a rumor that they were going to make it with like the Kinect and the Eye or whatever, that it was going to project the game like onto the walls and ceiling, so it'd be like
I remember about that.
Yeah, I think that was, but something like that would be pretty cool, and you can work that with Oculus. They've already done stuff like that where they put you in like a little tread type of thing.
They did a first-person modification, a first-person shooter game, and they gave him a simulacra of a gun, and they put him in basically a spherical room that was all bearings, and he was the really cool video. I so want to try it. Unfortunately, like to fly out and demo, it was like $6,000.
My biggest concern with this is the limitation of the technology that we have. Like Oculus, although it is at the forefront of, I guess, the media, because we're obviously talking about it. I'm pretty sure that it's not the most advanced technology. It's only the most accessible.
And I told you, I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before, that Sony has the Morpheus.
Yeah, and Rev did try it. So Rev, you are the person who has experienced VR more than we have. You were using the developer kit 2 on the Oculus, right?
I was using the DK2.
Okay. Now, in terms of quality, would you say that it is acceptable? Honestly, so if they sold that right now, you would be happy with the quality of it.
Yeah, I would have no problem. My goal. Okay, so I told you my goal is to buy a new laptop and a decent mic. But like one of the next big purchases that I'm going for, I am going to be purchasing a DK2, and I'm gonna have fun in VR land.
Okay. And that's coming from the person on Indie Game Riot who has bad eyes. So.
Right?
And then he's gonna send it to me.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Jumping from
speaking of Oculus and bad biological issues,
Yeah.
Bad eyes.
I think Rev has something to say about the
Yeah.
Oculus.
The Oculus Rift is sexist by design.
Now hold on there, Rev.
that.
Hold on. That is a very
Hold on,
that-
Rev.
that is a very clickbaity, sensationalist title. Explain
Yeah, Rev.
explain what's going on here.
Okay, so here's the rundown, and you're absolutely right. The clickbait title is exactly that. It technically doesn't meet the definition for sexism, but it is a biological difference. It came about actually pre-Oculus Rift. This was 1997, and there was a group of students that built what was called Cave, the Cave Automatic Virtual Environment, to start exploring the 3D fields, and they found that that males had no problems with it whatsoever. Like they donned a headset that was precursor type deal to Oculus and whatnot, and had no issue with it. But a significant portion of females that were attempting to use this technology were suffering from motion sickness and nausea and headaches. And the author that the study comes from basically was like, no, this has to be some kind of like bullshit thing, and like just kind of jokingly said, because she was an activist and a troublemaker, self-described. I'm not taking any stats there. She walked straight to the head office of the head Cave researcher and declared that Cave was sexist. Virtual reality is sexist. And he turns to me and says, prove it. So she goes out and she starts doing these studies, and they actually found out that there are more sex hormones in the retina of your eyes than anywhere else in the body except for your gonads. And this actually affects the way that you process three-dimensional images. So if you have a more testosterone-leaning retina, then you use something, you deal with motion parallax, and that's the apparent size of an object. And, that's, for whatever reason, geared more towards testosterone, and we can make assumptions on evolution as to hunting, gathering, stuff like that,
Etc.
Quick question too.
Yeah,
Because you talked about it has to do with 3D objects. But
right.
I mean, when you're in everyday life,
it still applies.
The reason why it works in 3D life is because both shape, form, shading, and motion parallax happen at the same time. It's just that increased levels of testosterone means that you can, and this is what the study is showing, is that motion parallax is easier to process when you have more testosterone in your system.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
if your eyes happen to be more estrogen based, for lack of a better term, you rely on the difference in shade of light and coloration to determine shape and distance. And so, since the vast majority of people that were working on 3D immersive environments like Oculus Rift, etc., tend to be male, the binocular system uses motion parallax basically because that's the way it is. And that causes problems.
So, I mean, is there a way for them to adjust it?
They're kind of working on that.
They're also studying more about it.
Yeah, this is very early study stuff. But it is 3D graphics don't really do well when you try and base the entire thing off of shape from shading.
Yeah.
The estrogen based retinal cues, whereas it works much better technologically. And this is, I'm not saying anything about biology or anything like that, but it is technologically easier to do motion parallax than it is to do shape from shape.
Right.
So
And-
how cool is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, who would have thought? Who would have thought that this awesome technology would be one of those things where it's like, huh?
We're a sexually dimorphic species.
Right?
So damn you, nature.
You don't really think about that. It's like, oh yeah, men get taller and are more aggressive because of testosterone, but you don't really.
That's what this should say: is nature is sexist.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said,
The Oculus Rift is sexually dimorphic.
There we go.
Yeah, and
but it is
yeah.
like I said, it doesn't affect all women the same, and they did have males that were affected adversely as well, especially when they did include a batch of male to female transgenders, and
That was another question I had.
They found that as the male to female transition was progressing, as the estrogen levels in their bodies were increasing, that actually affected the amount of estrogen in their eye, in the retina, and they started having the adverse reaction to the Oculus.
That's cool
as well.
So it's not just a lack of testosterone; it's a presence of estrogen.
It's an increased presence of estrogen.
So we've in this very limited study, we've concluded that, and I'm not a scientist, don't listen to me, or a doctor, that if you want to use virtual reality, take testosterone
and
put it in your eyes directly.
You know what I'm glad hasn't happened though?
What's that?
We haven't shouted out Richard recently.
Richard V. He's a friend of mine.
There you go.
So
thanks for the $1 donation,
yeah,
Richard.
thanks for the $1.
I'm glad it hasn't happened though with the Oculus.
What's that?
Is that no one has threatened them.
That's true. Well, I mean, there was that lawsuit, but what we're talking, but barring lawsuits and other legal action, the game Paranautical Activity was removed from Steam following some malicious tweets from one of the developers of the game, Mike Molbeck. No, but he
poor guy fucked himself.
But there were other people on the team that he screwed over.
Dude,
Yeah.
What was he thinking?
Yeah.
Just because it was a mistake. Holy crap, man.
And just going through, before we start talking about this, the tweet in question was a tweet that was quickly removed from Twitter by, he deleted it himself, which said, "I am going to kill Gabe Newell, space, he is going to die."
And for those of you who don't know who Gabe Newell is, he owns Valve.
Yeah.
AKA Steam as well.
Yeah. And this is right after Steam had moved Paranautical Activity from early access to full release. And he was complaining on Steam. And he was complaining about that with comments like, "Are you effing kidding me, Steam? We just released out of early access, and this is your front page banner, and it says Paranautical Activity now available in early access. First they forced me to delay the game because I can't release on weekends. Now this, Steam is the most incompetent piece of fucking shit." I censored myself earlier, but I guess I'm not. Steam is just fucking taking your money out of my money out of my pocket, misinforming people that my game is in early access. And I can see where he could be frustrated, where hey, the game isn't in early access, and that might discourage people from buying it. But at the same time,
it has been well proven that your early sales, your release day sales, kind of set the tone.
That is true.
Two things. First of all, on a side note, when he made the threat, he had his Halloween Twitter name, Mike Murderbeck.
Oh God,
that didn't help anything.
That doesn't help at all.
Notice that. How does that make it?
Second thing though, you're talking about early sales setting the tone. Look at Super Meat Boy. What happened with them? They weren't. They were supposed to be on the front page in store on Xbox Live.
Yeah,
and it took
10 a.m.
It took half the day.
Yeah.
For them to get on the store, and they still turned out to be.
Well, I'm not saying that you can't overcome that, I am saying
your game is good enough.
Right. But
I am saying that it does kind of set the tone. And if your big release onto the world, onto your publishing platform is mistakenly identified as, oh yeah, this is still in progress.
I mean, I get that he's angry.
But that is okay.
But I mean, like, look at him now. Now he has no game on
You
Steam.
don't lead a problem by bitching at the people who are publishing your game on Twitter.
What?
Not in,
Like-
using Super Meat Boy, what he did was he called his contact at Microsoft.
Exactly.
And was like, what the fuck? And he sent them emails.
Exactly.
And, you know,
Not saying I'm gonna kill Microsoft. Oh, they've screwed me out of money. It's
Kill
like
Microsoft to come in.
and the worst part about this, like my biggest thing is when this hit, when the first day that this happened, I saw tweets from the rest of his team who were basically like, "Yeah,
Dude, shut the fuck up.
This guy ruined my career because of this."
I don't
And-
think they.
I don't think it's going to ruin them.
I don't think it ruined their career.
No, but like you know, this was when everything was escalating and everyone was freaking out about it. Like they were like really pissed because they were relatively financially connected with this.
I get that they're pissed and they deserve to be.
And,
but I don't think it ruined their career.
No,
They
I
just,
don't think it ruined
make
their
another
career.
game without this.
Yeah,
idiot.
exactly. And obviously they are, because he says that he's not going to be making any more games.
I thought it was funny though because you mentioned that like his other tweets and stuff like that, 36, 45 retweets and favorites, 31, 24, 18, 14. Blah blah blah, and then and then when he says he's done making video games, almost 100 retweets and 70 favorites.
Yeah, they're like good.
But I mean, it's just we've talked about how many times, and obviously Phil Fish.
Yeah, but see, Phil Fish never told a
PR.
publisher that he was literally going
sure?
to kill them. No,
Well,
he said he told people to kill
like
themselves.
It's like Tech walking into Pizza Slide and walking up to his boss.
I'm not the only.
Like,
I'm not the only.
Can stab you in the goddamn throat.
I'm not the only one who calls it
and
that.
Just kidding.
Right?
Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly,
I
exactly.
was having a temper tantrum then in public.
Yeah, but like then you see a but like that's just what people and this is becoming a big issue now, especially in like the UK for some reason. Like they recently passed a law where if you're malicious or threaten somebody or bully somebody on the internet, you can go to jail for 8 years.
I mean, look what's been going on. I hate to bring this up.
I know.
You look what's been going on with Gamergate, and you got to start taking this shit seriously. Even though it's for 99% sure that he's just a moron.
But at the same time, all it takes is that one crazy fuck.
Exactly.
We've encountered this on every issue.
And here's the other thing. Let's say that Rev's Giant Penis Incorporated, which is a game publishing company,
that is an actual game production company,
is publishing a game, and then the day it releases, Rev gets a tweet saying that that developer is going to kill Rev because the release wasn't what they wanted. Are you going to, just in a professional sense, keep that game on your publishing site?
Okay, from a professional sense,
yes,
not in a fucking heartbeat.
Exactly.
I would boot that thing so damn fast it's not funny because I don't know. That's the thing. Like, from a hypothetical, Rev's enormous penis game publishing company, I don't know all of the people that I'm publishing at an intimate level enough that I can know their mentality.
Yeah,
if it's my roommate or my husband that is sitting there and is like, I'm gonna fucking stab you in the throat, I'm like, oh, okay, I might have irritated him slightly, and he's expressing that because I know them.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
And
you can also in that case too, you can also see their body expressions and just like you don't even know how they're saying it or what they're saying it.
But even still, like this tweet was very like it wasn't even like I'm gonna fucking kill you. It was literally like
he is going to
like
die.
This is what people write about in manifestos before they shoot up a mall. Like that's literally what they do. Like there's absolutely no reason why
not to take that, even if it was just an excited outburst.
Exactly.
That's the legal term for it.
Yeah.
it's still something that you have to take as a possible legitimate threat.
Because if you're not, you're putting people in danger.
They're cray.
And
like today, when I went to go down and hit on the juvenile delinquents, like I pulled up to the park in the parking lot.
I want to rephrase that.
Okay, they weren't juvenile delinquents.
You weren't hitting on them. You were hitting them.
Hitting them. Sorry, yes. I was not hitting on the juveniles.
It's okay. They're juveniles.
I'm drinking a lot of tequila at the moment. No, I was when I went down to Costa Mesa to hit the juvenile delinquents. I pulled up to the park and I didn't feel safe getting out of my car because there were two hobos beating the shit out of each other in the park. Not with sticks, not like what I was going to do to these kids. No, like they're literally punching each other. And who knows why? You don't know.
Exactly.
You don't know, and you have to take that seriously. And the fact that, charges were like, the police weren't involved. All it was a simple, we're going to remove your game from our environment. We're no longer publishing you. Good luck.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that, before I say my transition, I just want to quote this. I would say that Mike Malbec was pretty steamed.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, Josh, you're a riot.
Yeah, it's starting to riot. And this week on Starting the Riot, we have a game called The Novelist. This game is deep, son. You wanna know why?
Why?
As deep as Twilight.
It's so deep.
Oh, so
It's deep, as deep as the abyss of my soul.
Is it as deep as 50 Shades of Grey?
As deep as... Never mind. I'm not even going to go there.
Oh, and before we even get into this review, it is very good that we're talking about this because it's NaNoWriMo, National Random Novel in a Month.
There you go. Even though this doesn't really, as far as the game is concerned and gameplay, it doesn't have a whole lot to do with actually writing. It's called The Novelist, though, because the man in the game, he is a novelist. He's an author. And
is his name Richard, who happens to be one of our dollar donations?
Thanks, Richard, for your dollar donation. No, his name is not Richard, though. And, but I actually forget the guy's name because I play him, but I can't remember his name.
His name is Dan Kaplan.
Thank you, Dan. Dan and his family are having issues. That's how the story goes. They're having issues. His marriage is failing. He hasn't been connecting with his son, who is getting bullied and whatnot. And he's trying to finish a book. And he has like writer's block. He can't stick to the their time schedule thing. So they rent out a beach house to try and spend some time together and hopefully kind of free up the mind and give some fresh thoughts and ideas and everything like that, so that he can get it done. And you, as the player, are actually they call you a ghost. Not the characters, but just the game in general calls you a ghost, who basically observes the family. And the gameplay consists. There's like basically, other than the mouse, there's 3 buttons that you use, or actually more than 3 buttons. You use WASD, space, and the E button. WASD to move around. Space is to possess lights. That's kind of how you travel throughout the house, because you can't be seen by the family. If you get seen, you'll spook them and they'll go away, and that's the end of the game. Okay. So you use lights to kind of travel around the house without being seen. Space is how you possess them. You can also read thoughts by using space, and then E is to like make the light flicker, so that way you can like kind of distract them to go to one side of the room, so you can float around a little bit, so you can like read notes. Yeah,
that's really cool. Because, on the surface of it, you think, oh, it's a novelist. It's going to be like a choose-your-own-adventure game with a bunch of different options. But, adding that...
It kind of is, but it's
but you're not locked in a perspective.
Yeah, it's more open than that, and it's very deep. It is, because, first of all, the game hits home for me a little bit, just because I know how it's tough to balance family and your passion and career and everything like that. Because, IGR Indie Game Riot takes a lot of effort, and time.
Believe it or
but
not.
I also have 2 kids and a wife that I need to take care of and everything like that and spend
I
time
got
with.
a wife and a husband, and
Right.
yeah.
And Tech has his hand.
Yeah.
And
He's gonna kick
and,
your
and the
ass.
girl who lives in the basement who I occasionally have sex with.
but
That sounds so bad now.
the game kind of hits home for me like that. And basically, as the ghost, you read their notes, you read their thoughts, you kind of go into their memories, and at the end of the chapter, once you find all the clues and everything like that of things that they each their needs for themselves, their individual needs. Crap.
So are you
Hold on.
trying to make their life better, or their
Hold on.
relationships better?
Ask that again.
So are you trying to improve their relationships between each other as you're going through the game, or are you just kind of the voyeur of the situation?
No, you're trying to improve. You're trying to improve the relationship, and that's what I'm saying is at the end, once you find all the clues, you read their thoughts, go into their memories and things like that. You get to choose basically how the story will progress. So, just to give an example, I'm not going to ruin the whole game, but just to give an example, the first choice you get to make is: will you help Dan overcome his writer's block by finding his journal with a good idea in it that he wrote down? Will you help him connect with his wife by choosing the bottle of wine so that they'll spend the night together, get a little drunk and tipsy, and spend some quality time with each other? Or will you choose the board game so that his son wants to play with him, and he gets to connect with his son that way? You have to choose one of those 3 things. And then after you choose that, obviously, that means
Things shift in response.
Right,
That's
right.
crazy.
The whole story changes based on what you choose. My choice was the wine. He connected with his wife, but his son was very disappointed. He wasn't doing well in school. Because it goes by chapter, the game. The next chapter, you find out, okay, him and his wife connected. It was a good night. They had fun. But his son is sad. And then you'll find a note that he's not doing well in school. He gets a note from his teacher. And then you also find another note that's coming from his publisher, demanding that he, finish his novel, blah blah blah, and that he's really stressed out about it. So there's.
I really like this idea.
Yeah.
And then
I like the idea, but man, see, the big
You
thing,
don't like to choose your own adventure type.
Well, see, I like choose your own adventure, but not when it's so real. Like, because
stressful.
in terms of like relationships, like this really puts you in a situation because you're outside of the whole thing where you don't you have people who aren't you and have different tendencies, so you can make those choices. Like in reality, you can have a short conversation with someone, touch base, and I'm lucky to have relationships like that where I can be open and express how I'm feeling, motivations and stuff, and then work through things. Because in my head I'm like, oh yeah, play with the kid, because then your wife will see that you're playing with the kid, you really care about the family. Oh yeah, he's not spending time with me, but he really cares about Joey over there, so everything's okay for right now. But in reality, some people aren't that lucky. And it just sometimes the whole feels thing gets to me.
it is, and it's stressful because you're like, but you want because you want their lives to work out.
Yeah.
Now there are after the first chapter, in between each chapter, there's little nighttime intermission type things where you can go in the night and find a what do they call it, a compromise in the game. So basically, you can you choose one thing during the chapter, and then at night you find some more clues, and you choose a compromise. So that way, I could compromise. Like, okay, well, I did this thing with the wine, so maybe I'll also compromise with the son, so that way they get a little bit of bonding time.
Okay, cool.
So that way,
so that's actually exactly what I just mentioned.
Right, and you're trying to balance it out and everything like that.
It's just it feels like a very heavy game, sort of feeling really heavy.
It hits home for me just because, like I said, I know how it's like to balance that sort of thing. And then because I have kids and I'm married and everything like that, I put myself in the place of Dan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, like you.
So,
because when I will say
yourself poorly about it.
I will say when I found that note about the kid getting bullied, and not doing well in school because I didn't play the game with him, I was like, oh, because I started like, what if I did that to my own kid? Like,
yeah, and then you start looking back and backtracking. You're like, did I do that? Are these problems that I'm making? Now, honest question: would you recommend this game for people who might be getting into more serious relationships?
Yes.
In a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
Because I think that this game would be good for people to play so that you can understand like realistic expectations about how real long-term relationships happen.
I don't know about realistic.
Well,
it is a game.
Well, right.
It's very...
When I mention realistic, I mean like in interactions of real people, because obviously Hollywood isn't real.
Yeah.
And I'm
a lot of people try and base
exactly,
reality
and I'm talking and I'm talking from a younger generation, and having friends of mine who are like starstruck with the opposite gender and are like so sure where their lives are going to go. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, you are literally throwing your life away. There's nothing for you in Florida. Why would you go to Florida? Florida sucks.
Because One Direction's playing there, and that might be
But exactly, and so it's like that. That's why I sort of bring it up. Like it's good for people who may not have experienced a situation like this to see what different choices within a family make, and they're not so outlandish that you honestly think like that would never happen. I'm done with suspending my disbelief.
Yeah. I would absolutely recommend.
I really like the emotional content to this. I'm in the last couple of months, for whatever reason, I have become much more a fan of the pseudo simulation, and this game seems to hit all of that spot for me. The art style is cartoony. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely cell shaded and it's not Toy Story quality.
It's all about the story in this.
And that experience means a lot to me, and the fact that I can take this game and apply it to the real world.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Orthogonal Games for putting out a fantastic experience.
Yeah. And just to mention, it's $14.99. You can buy it now. You can get it DRM free for Linux, Mac, and Windows, and you can also get it on Steam. And you can also, and this is a real big thing for Josh and I, they do have a very clear Let's Play policy where you're allowed to share the videos, monetize the videos, review it, Let's Play it, first look at it.
I'm glad you mentioned that was next on my list.
And display ads, monetize, and all they ask is that you can link to the website in the description. And they feel very deliberate as a company, obviously, and this game has won Outstanding Achievement in Story from DICE in 2014. They were a finalist. Indie Game of the Year from Continue Play, and they were a finalist in Gamers Voice Award in South by Southwest 2014.
Definitely a go by.
And now they have the endorsement of the Indie Game Riot. So.
There you go.
Damn.
And it gives you the peep show into these people's lives.
Exactly.
Just like we get a peep show into our next game. It's a peep show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
Indie flying games are few and far between, but this week we are talking about Air Brawl, a game that you can kickstart right now in the link down in the description. But this is a dogfighting game set in the future in a steampunky world, and damn, does it control like you actually are flying a plane. So you are given certain classes of planes that you can choose. They have different weapons that you fire, and each one controls a little bit differently. They fly differently. They have different speeds. And in the current game mode that you can play in a demo that you can find in the link in the description, or maybe on the Kickstarter page, I'm not exactly sure where that'll be in the final product. But you play Capture the Flag, which is surprisingly good. The biggest problem that I had with that game mode is I didn't know what team I was on, so I didn't know what team to shoot at.
That's why you shoot at everybody.
And that's ended up what I did. And like, oh, a team killed. I should probably shoot the blue guys now. But this game, like, the control and the look are so good. Like,
honestly, the controls are what drew me to this game.
This game is so simple to pick up. When I downloaded the demo and I played it, I was worried that this was going to be a steep learning curve. I've played PlanetSide for hundreds of hours, and I still don't know how to fly in that game. And I picked this game up, and within 3 minutes, I was... in like 30 seconds I got my first kill, and then 3 minutes I was, daring enough to fly through the building and get a flag, and then by the end of the play session I was taking risks and like, oh, I totally can make it through that building, and I'd whiz through the buildings and be awesome and just feel so good and get a kill over there. And
so the controls are really that tight.
Oh, the controls are
I was
so
watching these videos, and like they're flying through some small gaps.
No,
either you're a master or these controls are.
The only time I crashed, the only times
you fly through the archway. You turn, you rotate so that your wings are vertical as opposed to horizontal.
Like, especially considering like if you don't know the maps, like is it so? I mean, is it tight enough that if you have a quick enough reaction time, you're not going to smash into the wall?
Yeah, and the only time I ever crashed was purely my fault in focusing on something that I shouldn't have been focusing on, and because again. Most of the flying that I do is in PlanetSide, and PlanetSide has a very hovery, sort of helicoptery flight mechanic, and so I never go full blast on my throttle, and so I was going full blast on my throttle. That wasn't really working. I'd slow down to get a better shot, and then all of a sudden, I'd be pitched up, I'd be losing a lot of altitude, and I'd crash, and I'd be like, damn it, I know exactly why I crashed. I wasn't giving it enough throttle. The physics in this game are good enough where it feels like real planes, but it's not, giving you a hard time where it's like, oh, you need all this different pitch and yaw, and you have to know exactly what to do, and there are 18,000 button combinations, and and then adding on with the really cool weapons that you can use.
I was going to point that out because I think the Batapult is pretty cool, where you launch bats at your opponents.
It's a little bit OP, I think, but
I think the one that's my favorite probably is the anti-aircraft anchor.
That's so hard to use
because, but it looks so trollish.
Yeah,
like because you could be flying behind someone, they don't even know you're there, and all of a sudden they just get yanked out of the sky.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the
I found
my favorite moment in this game so far, in the limited amount that I've been able to play it, I was flying through a building, and like there was the archway in the building, flying through that, and was doing a rotation like a complete rotation horizontally. And as I came out of that, I was also exiting the building, and my belly was to the sky, and I immediately just like yanked back and was like flying up the face of this building after. And as I did that, my opponent flew over in front of me.
Oh yes,
over the building, and I got to shoot his ass down. And oh my god,
my favorite thing to do in this game is get the flag and then go as low as possible and just see if you can make it.
The ground?
Yeah, exactly, and just see if you can weave through these buildings that they erected. And the level design in this game, although might seem kind of simple and a little bit small, is really good. Like, they knew what they were doing when they placed everything the way it is, and it doesn't even feel like it's like, oh, this wall is here because it's supposed to add cover. Like, it actually feels like a real
flight pattern.
Not only that, but it feels like a real city. It feels like it's an actual place.
Reminds me of?
What does it remind you of?
Like, I'm rewatching video right now as we've been talking about this, and I was like, this reminds me of the old Descent and Descent 2.
Yep. Yep.
This is exactly what it felt like playing that game, just with higher fidelity and a much more awesome and, steampunk theme to it.
And it's a really... and a lot of people are sort of turning away. Like, I'm actually really big in the steampunk thing, as I may have, explained in the past. But it isn't, as one would say, like the popular mass-produced steampunk. It is very much... It has this... although it is steampunk, it has a very unique aesthetic that is clearly steampunk, but very, unique. And that's, I really like that. And
I was gonna say the steampunkish thing kind of stuck out to me. I was wondering if there was a reason they themed it that way.
I bet you it was the weapons,
because it's fun,
and it is fun. Well, I
don't know. I was maybe they have if they were planning some sort of campaign mode or something.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Well,
I think it's gonna be the arena shooter.
Yeah, but the the steampunk aesthetic, it's really big now, and on top of that, you have the fact that you have a lot of weird weapons, and steampunk is a very good, not necessarily overused yet aesthetic, where you can have a lot of futuristic things and a lot of older things.
It is being used a lot in Dishonored. And,
yeah, that's true. Exactly. Well, because
another one coming out, I forget what it's called.
Well, it's because you can mix a Gatling gun and a Batwing.
Heat-seeking missile.
Exactly, and heat-seeking missiles, and it'd be okay.
Zeppelin.
Exactly, and it's almost
airships.
It's a mixture of diesel punk and steampunk, where it's a little bit more modern than the average Victorian era, but it still works, and it's just this. Oh man, this game is so much fun. I want to talk more about it, but time.
Did you see? I don't know if you guys have done this, but Air Brawl actually came up on my radar about episode 3.
Really?
No. Yeah. And then it got brought back onto my radar. With Indie 3, and I've been following it incessantly since then. But have you guys encountered the sci-fi ship yet?
No. What does that one shoot?
It shoots the lasers.
Oh,
is that what I see in the videos?
Yeah. That is the special, just for fun.
It's like the environmental hazard. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So this game is absolutely amazing. It is being made by a Swedish developer.
Nylon.
Yeah. And the guy's really nice too.
I follow him on Twitter. He and I have conversated multiple times.
I've talked to him on Reddit.
I'm glad to be able to finally be like, yes, we're going to get this out.
Yeah.
So he is asking for it in Swedish money, not real money. So
but it's reasonable priced. I did the math.
Real money? Is that what you just said?
I did the math. Kronar.
He has it right here in his Kickstarter. To clear any confusion, 350,000 SEK is about $50,000.
SEK, whatever that means.
It's Swedish kroner.
Swedish fake money.
It's kroner. I'm almost positive. I could be krona. There we go.
We've got 11 days to go as of the time of this recording. So by the time this gets released, knock a couple off of that.
$14 gets you the game.
Yeah, $14 gets you the game. If you go a little bit more, you get an extra copy at half price.
If you pay $21 in real money, you get access to all the alpha and beta events and everything else. Honestly, for such an awesome game, the prices are great and it's so much fun. The amount of play the demo. It's right there on the Kickstarter. Just scroll down a little bit. There's a picture that says playable demo. You take it to it, and it's going to throw you into IndieDB. And holy crap, just play it. Play it right now.
Play it right now.
Yeah.
And in addition to our awesome shout-out to Wilhelm Nyland, I'm going to throw out a shout-out to our $1 donator, Richard V.
Richard!
Yeah.
How many is
Thanks,
that?
man.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We still have to mention 4 more times.
4 more times.
Yeah,
God,
4 more times.
Why would I thank Richard for the $1 donation?
That one doesn't count. That one doesn't count. It was part of. It was a combined shout out.
Yeah.
How you were generous.
I'm making sure he feels he gets his money's worth.
You know what else is generous?
The
Free game.
Jay Tholen, because he made a free game on Free Fun.
This week on Free Fun, remember a while back we had this really cool guy come out and do an interview with us, and he was making a game about a clown, and that game still isn't out, so you've been working on it right now. But Jay Tholen took a break from working on Dropsy the Clown and released a game also starring Dropsy. He made this game in 72 hours, and it's a bit of an older game. It came out in 2013, but he updated it this year and released it around Halloween, and it is Dropsy and the Black Lodge. It's available on itch.io. Jay Tholen, I'll just link it and check the description. So you're playing as Dropsy already, and we still can't play as Dropsy yet.
Yeah.
Still waiting. So yeah, arrow keys, jump, hug, and cover your eyes. You're exploring the city. You're trying to you hug the souls, the ghosts that are in the town, and there's monster thingies that are obviously scaring Dropsy, because you can get scared once and he starts to cry, and if you get scared twice, guess what? You start the game over.
Poor Dropsy.
Poor Dropsy.
No, I do have to say, just note that first of all, Jay Tholen, extremely talented pixel
Oh
artist.
my god!
Yeah, it looks like a freaking painting when he does it. However, this being done in 72 hours and being not his main game, not as detailed, but still pretty good.
Yeah.
For pixel art, 72 hours.
Well, like the character models aren't as detailed, but the environments are phenomenal. And like
Did you go into the building
as
with the
game,
clock?
the game he's working on, but
Yeah.
it's still damn good.
oh my
One
god!
of the first buildings you can go into, there's a clock on the wall. You know what's animated? The fucking minute hand of the clock.
Yeah,
Like
it's
okay,
amazing.
so I can't
and you
talk
have-
this game up enough.
And you have like this effect where it's almost like an old like CRT TV, where there's like distortion and what?
I said or LSD.
Yeah, where there's like distortion, and you're trying to hide from scary things by hitting C, and yet it's a super scary moment where like everything pauses and gets really quiet, and you have to hide, and it's like it honestly feels like you have cut off the rest of the world, and everything outside is terrifying, but you don't want to look. And it's like this is like a small free to download game that was made in 72 hours, and it's a relatively scary game. Like, no, it's not everything's gonna jump out at you and you're gonna be frightened, but it's like the atmosphere and the way it makes you feel is very good, especially in the amount of time that it takes for that to evoke emotion.
Well,
One of the biggest things for me is this is helping me because when we interviewed Jay when he was on the show, I was kind of having a hard time getting into relating to Dropsy as a character.
really?
And yeah, I kind of did.
I was going to
I can see that.
though, that this game kind of
This really
introduces you to him.
Yeah, this game particularly, like as I'm playing through this, I'm feeling more his perception and his view on the world.
Yeah.
I mean, when your primary mechanic to avoid danger is cover your eyes, because if you can't see it, it can't see
Like with
you.
the innocence of it, right?
Yeah, and that really kind of helps cement that characterization for me. And I know I keep mentioning the actual Gabe Dropsy the Clown that I'm anxiously awaiting for, and you better be working on, Jay. But this is like that little taste test that helps you. It's not a demo, but it is.
It
Character demo.
It's a
it
look
introduces
into
you to Dropsy and
Yeah.
the world that he lives in.
and it all yeah.
Jay, when we interviewed him, he talked about how Dropsy was like the personification of innocence, and he's like this ugly clown that everyone's like ugh, like when they see him or run away.
Right.
But this game like this game, and when you think about that, it's like it is like you feel guilty about it, but it's hard to attach yourself to him because he looks like a scary clown. But this game, he seems so innocent because, like you said, covering eyes, he just wants to hug all the spirits and things like that, and you start to feel like protective over him. Like, don't worry, cover your eyes. I got your back.
I got your back.
And then you also sort of wonder, like, how much of what's going on is real and how much is actually the perspective of Dropsy.
Of Dropsy himself.
Because, like, you know, perception is everything. And, like, we've seen with games like Silence of the Sleep. Not Silence of the Sleep. The game where you play as the toddler.
Among the Sleep.
Among the Sleep, yeah. Among the Sleep, where your whole perspective is changed, and you wonder if things are real or if things are just the way that the character is seeing it.
The imagination, yeah.
And this demo also, in the grand scheme of things, like I know this game, you're right, it is not a demo.
This free game.
This free game, in the grand scheme of Tholen as a game developer and developing his first game, you know, officially full game, Dropsy the Clown, like, you get to see the passion that he has for world creating and immersion,
and this character, really.
Exactly. And it's so surprising at how it really, like, it drew me in. And yeah, you know, like, obviously we're all gonna have biases because we're really excited about the game and we really want to like that, but until now we hadn't had an experience playing one of his games, and this just gives me a lot more
anticipation.
It gives me a lot of faith in him as a developer for creating a unique world that is actually going to be fun to play in. Seriously, words can only say so much in the gaming industry, but having a good game is just leagues better.
Absolutely. Come on, Jay.
Yeah.
Crack the whip.
Yeah. If your publisher isn't, I am. Crack.
Yeah, Devolver Digital, get on his ass.
Yeah, really.
Well, so we can get Jay, get back to his work instead of listening to the show. I think this is a good place to end it. I do have to say that we don't have, unfortunately, we don't have a musician this week.
Which means get us your crap, indie music devs.
Yeah,
indie
come
music
on,
makers.
Indie music devs. If you were
the dichotomy of that, like, yeah, we'd like to feature your shit.
Give us your worst. We'll take it.
If you're an indie video game musician or an indie video game dev or any indie kind of anything, please let us know. Or if you know someone who is, please have them let us know or let us know about them, because we want to feature you. We want to feature you on the show, especially the more amazing, the more we want to feature it.
You know who else we need to feature?
Your face.
Richard. Richard Vera.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good point. We should feature Richard because
$1 donation.
$1 donation. Thank you. What is that, 7?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes.
So thank you. We feature just like Richard and his independent dollar that he donated.
That still only counts as the 7.
We featured him, and Revs is, I'm going to kick you in the ass with my steel-toed boot. I'll tell you how you can contact us if you're one of those people or know someone. But first, actually, for those of you who are listening to the recorded version, we do a live show before the recorded version, obviously, on hitbox.tv/JaShinYa. And you can check us out there. Instead of all the edited version with gameplay footage, background music, and bumpers, you get to hear us be idiots in between segments. For those of you who are listening live, we also have an edited version where there is background music, bumpers, and gameplay footage. And that is on youtube.com/JaShinYa Gaming. But you can contact us in several different ways. One being on Twitter @IGR Podcast, on Facebook.com/IGR Podcast. We also have a subreddit, is reddit.com/r/Indie Game Riot. And we will be getting a new website very soon. But in the meantime, you can just contact us via email, which is at JaShinYaGaming@gmail.com. If any of that,
for a shout out for Richard on reddit.com/r/
That'll count.
Indie Game Riot.
I'm counting that one.
Yeah, I'm counting that one.
we have one more, and so, you know.
We should say before anything, we should probably say goodbye to Richard.
Yeah, bye, Richard.
Because
thanks for donating $1. Bam, 10.
Yeah, $1. Was that 9?
It's 10.
That was 9. That was 9. Oh, can we do this?
Here, 1, 2, here we go. Simultaneously. On 3.
Okay.
We'll say
Wait,
thank you.
on 3 or a moment after 3?
1, 2, 3, and then say.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right.
This is going to be a failure.
What are we going to say?
1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Richard.
For donating
Donation of
$1,
$1.
you bastard. And on that note, say goodbye, gentlemen.
I'll see you guys next time.
Have a good one, folks.
Toodles. Excuse me. Still got a cough.
You gave my wife Ebola, by the way.
Well, she deserves it.
I'm going to tell her you said that. Josh says you deserve Ebola.
It's a bowlerific.